Sorry about that. Someone was at the door. Welcome back. In our last video, we covered off what the chest is, what it's composed of, and what its main function is. Now we're going to be diving in to the nitty-gritty. Which exercises are going to be the best at growing each of the different heads? Just to do a quick recap, you've got the clavicular head, you got the sternal head, and the abdominal head. With that, let's get started. This is the part that you guys have been waiting for. All right, let's start out with the basics. We're going to start out with the lateral plane first, which means we're going to be going with the sternal head, also known as the center chest or just chest. First things first, we're going to cover off the flat bench. All right, you can do the flat bench with a bar or with dumbbells. This is going to be the most basic chest exercise, but we'll cover off what's the best way to do it so that you're maximizing your chest gains. So there's small details are going to be what drives your success. So when you're going in for a bench, all right, I want you to think about bending the bar like you're going to snap it, right? So pick the rings that you want your fingers to go around. On a barbell, there's usually be 1 ring or 2 ring. I like to go ring fingers, but we all have different arm lengths, so you're going to have to figure that out on your own. But when you do find that right spot, take it and imagine that you're bending the bar forward, right? And then you also want to have your back engaged. So imagine that you're also trying to row the weight, right? So when I unrack the bar, I'm bending it and then I'm rowing the weight down. I'm going to pause about maybe a centimeter above my sternum. I want to have the bar just below my nipple point, all right? And then you're going to drive it forward. And you want to really fully extend just far enough that you're not locking the elbows, but you want to otherwise extend as far as you can. Pause for a short, brief moment and lower the bar and do that again. Now, it's very important when you're benching that you're in constant control of the weight. One of the biggest things I see guys doing is they're either going to be bouncing the bar off their chest, right, like a trampoline, or you're going to see guys that are not going all the way down. They're leaving maybe 2 or 3 inches of room between the bar and their sternum. Both of these are no good. You want to be lowering the bar and then pause about a centimeter above your rib cage, and then push forward. Now, another thing you want to keep in mind when you're benching is to keep your elbows slightly bent inwards. Kind of think about like a chicken wing. Let's just say we're getting in a fight and you're mad at me and you're about to push me, right? Are you going to push me like that? Or are you going to push me like that? All right? You want to have your elbows in when you're benching so that you're getting the most leverage out of your chest. Now, there is an advanced bodybuilding technique called the guillotine press, but we're not going to go over that in this video because it's more of an advanced movement. It's a little on the dangerous side, and it's for very, very specific muscle targeting. So for a basic flat bench, we just want to have bending the bar. Your back is going to be rowing the weight. Lower the bar just below your nipple. Have those elbows tucked in and press forward. That is going to be your bench press. A nice variation that you can do this with is dumbbells. Now, if you use dumbbells, you don't have the bar. So one advantage is that you're going to be able to go lower, and you can also supinate the wrists towards the bottom. It's going to allow you to get the dumbbells even a little bit lower, and then as you press it up, you can pronate outwards to get a little extra tricep activation. Now, my second exercise for you guys is going to be the pec deck fly, all right? Now, a lot of gyms have these. They're all going to be slightly different from each other. Sometimes they're going to be handles. Sometimes they're going to be pads, all right? So it's going to really depend on the gym that you work out at, how your pec deck is going to look. But the reason I really like the pec deck is that it isolates the sternal or the center chest muscle with very minimal to no tricep activation, all right? So one of the big things that lags people behind in chest is that their shoulders and their triceps actually give out before their chest does. Well, the pec deck is an isolation movement that allows us to just focus in on this center chest, whether you have a pad or with a handlebar, right? One thing that I want to make a note of, sometimes the pec deck machines are going to be, the handles can move in and outward. When you are doing this movement, you want to bring the weight as far from your body as you can, all right? So if I got the handlebars here, going all the way out, all right? All the way out. And here's another one. If you can touch your fingertips at the end, you're going to get really, really good contraction. So the next time you're on a pec deck, try to really get them out there and touch those fingertips. You can also do this with cable flies. Now let's move on to our next group. The next one up, this is my favorite exercise of all time, all right? It's the incline press. It's very, very mechanically similar to the flat bench. In fact, the only real difference is the elevation of the bench. So in order to do an incline press, you're going to need a bench that's already either in a fixed position at an incline, or, and this is my preferred option, a bench with a pin in it that you can have an adjustable incline to. The reason I like this is because the static benches are unfortunately usually at pretty steep angles. You really only need the bench to be between 20 and 30 degrees to get maximum activation out of the clavicular head, or we'll just call it the upper chest. So find a bench in your gym. All the gyms are going to be a little bit different. Try to find a bench that has the most shallow incline available. 20 to 30 degrees is perfect. Other than that, the setup is exactly the same. You want to bend that bar with the wrists, right? You want to row the weight down. Now with this, instead of going to your nipple, I like to go directly to the sternum, right? So I'm going to lower directly to the sternum, and I'm going to push out as far as I can while maintaining that bar, right? Going all the way down and all the way out, all right? I'm going to stop about a centimeter from center chest where my sternum is. It's very important that you get a full range of motion on this. And trust me, when you start building the upper pectorals, you're going to notice some crazy gains, all right? Imagine you're on a date and you're wearing a Henley. You got that little bit of man cleavage going on. It's so awesome, all right? I want you guys to know what that's like. So you need to start doing incline presses, okay? Now let's talk about the next one, because this next exercise is just as good. This one's going to be kind of similar to the pec deck, but instead we're going to be doing it with dumbbells, and it's going to be on, you guessed it, an incline bench. Same setup as a normal chest fly, or same setup as the pec deck, but with dumbbells. So starting position is going to be like that. In a bench that's inclined, this is going to be your starting position with the dumbbells in a neutral grip. As you lower the weight, you actually want to pronate so that your chest expands and opens. And when you contract the weight back up, you want to supinate back to a neutral grip. Now this exercise is really nice, especially at a lower weight, all right? We don't want to go too heavy with this one because it does have some risk for injury if you start going heavy, but at a lower weight, as long as you can control it, try to pick a rep range between 12 and 20. And that should be pretty good for you. So we just covered off how to hit the upper chest. Now I want to talk about how to hit the lower chest. For me, I don't really like doing decline presses. I prefer the weighted dip. The weighted dip is amazing because it's going to hit that lower chest, especially if you bend forward a little bit. We're making that 30-degree decline on our own just by leaning forward like that. If you use a weighted belt, you can really add a lot of weight here and overload the lower pectoral. I love these. These are an amazing exercise. Especially you keep those elbows in, really lower it, and then push, extend as far as you can to really hit that lower chest. That's going to give you that sloped look in your lower pectoral muscle. It's going to really make that chest pop. So one thing when you're doing a weighted dip, make sure you do not flare those elbows out. You want to keep them in at all times. You want to stay nice and tight, all right? Stay tight and push all the way through. Push all the way through, all right? And when you're at the top, lock that chest in. Don't lock the elbows, but lock your chest and squeeze, all right? When you lower, go slow. Really feel that stretch. So this next one is actually a crazy exercise. It's one of my favorites and nobody's doing them, all right? I could almost make an entire video on this next exercise, and it's called the pullover. You may have seen these back in like the old school Arnold videos where they take the weight, they bring it behind their head and they pull it forward. I think the reason this exercise fell out of favor is that a lot of people like to do chest and back on different days, and the dumbbell pullover is like the squat of the upper body. You're hitting both your chest and your back in this one movement, but not only that, you're also hitting the triceps, and you're going to be hitting all those little muscles in your ribs like the serratus. It's like that. If you ever see this right here, that's a serratus. Hitting all of that with the dumbbell pullover, but it's really good for hitting the lower chest, because think about what we were saying earlier. To hit the lower chest, you're extending your arms, but at a lower angle, right? Well, with the dumbbell pullover, we're bringing the weight from up to down. So even though we don't cross the, well, I got a little kink in my elbow. So even though we're not crossing lateral until the later end of the exercise, because we're pulling down the whole time, that lower pec is actually engaged for a majority of the exercise. And if you want to make this even more chest focused, when you bring that weight down, instead of doing a straight arm pullover, bring it down and bend. Get that bar behind your neck, and just think about using your chest to bring the weight forward. That's going to be a really, really good lower abdominal head chest exercise. Lower chest. I'm telling you guys, this is one of the secret exercises that everybody should be doing, but for some reason they just aren't. You gotta be doing pullovers. And I know this isn't a back video, but the pullover is going to hit your back pretty good as well. So I'm probably going to cover this exercise a few times. I hope I can get some of you guys to start doing it, because I'm really passionate about it, man. It's just a crazy exercise. Those are my favorite movements to do for chest. Now, on every single one of these movements that I showed you guys today, there's different ways that you can mix it up. You can do them with barbells. You can do them with dumbbells. You can do them with cables. There's a lot of different ways you can mix these up, and it does make a difference. At the end of the day, what we're really concerned with is stimulating that muscle. So experiment. Try different things out. But make sure that when you're doing things, you're always doing them with the intention of making that muscle really sore, okay? If you guys have liked what you've seen, please give me a like. Please give this channel a subscription. Ring the notification bell. I'm going to be bringing you guys a lot of nutritional content coming soon, but I also want to be showing you guys a little bit about bodybuilding. That way you're able to combine the two. So with that, I hope you guys have a good afternoon or evening or whatever time of day it is that you watch these. I don't know. Take it easy.